as Paul just mentioned about the tweet from Microsoft CEO, he's probably a little bit happier because for him, if the cost curve goes down in the long run, and we don't know if that's going to happen, his adoption rate goes up and his capex goes down. So it's in a roundabout way. Now we don't think there is going to be an impact on capex in the near term, but in the long run, if that just shifts, it helps their profitability. But more important to that, the enterprise, you could say, take rate on AI adoption goes up.
The theme this morning, Paul's been great about this, is like drunken sailors. From where, and Anurag, you're just world class at this. Are they drunken sailors in terms of CapEx, or is there a plan? Is there a sequence? Is there a pace to spending billions?
So one of the things, if you would say, is if this AI adoption curve, which is absolutely in infancy right now, the only thing we have seen is in the consumer world. If enterprises start to put this in their core applications, then they would need a lot more, you could say, firepower to run it. Most of the things that we have discussed is people would not want to do this on their own premise. The bigger companies will, but most of them will go to a handful of cloud providers, and that would be Microsoft, AWS, Google, and then Oracle. So for all these companies to increase their capacity now, they're only seeing the orders, and based on that, they are expanding their data center footwork. The question is whether do they need the expensive chips to do with this, or can they run this with cheaper chips? And that's really, I think, the biggest discussion going to be over the next 12 months.
Anurag, like Tom has often want to say, my head is spinning here. Just since Friday, I've got a big tech company called Meta. I call it Facebook, given the IPO. We spent a lot of time thinking about that name and the ticker FB. They upped their capex from $50 billion to $65 billion, in large part on AI. Now I've got this DeepSeek thinking about, I can do this at a much lower cost. How do we square those two things?
Yeah, but one thing is for sure, this DeepSeek news of the paper has been out for a while. So it did get publicized over the last few days. But I'd be very surprised if Meta, AWS, and Microsoft did not know about this. It has been around for a while. So both of them, both Meta and Microsoft, talked about their capex last week after knowing this news. So, they have more, they're far smarter than I am when it comes to this. So if they're taking up their capex, there must be a real need for it.
What's it mean for Cupertino? They're having an early morning. They don't have lattes at Cupertino. They got something. Lisa, what's the thing with the green powder in it?
The matcha?
Oh,
the matcha,
please,
yeah.
That is
Anurag, they're having the matcha at Cupertino, some undrinkable bilge. What are they saying at Apple today?
They are actually smiling and saying, you guys fight it out and tell me what's the best large language model out there. I'll just put it in my phone and I won't even pay for it. So if you look at Apple right now, that's kind of the safety haven for people, is they are not spending that capex. If you look at that capex line, it hasn't moved at all in 2 years, and the free cash flow just keeps on coming. Their issue, honestly, is more so on the the growth side. They are having challenges in China. That needs to smoothen out over the next 12 months. Otherwise, this is going to be another year for them to grow only 4-5%. That's the big issue for them, nothing to do with AI.
All right, well, let's just stay on the Apple story. Its stock's down 11% year to date this year. It's only up 15% over the trailing 12 months, which is radical underperformance for a company like Apple. Is there a bull case here short term for Apple?
In the short term, it's very difficult to come up with a bull case because as we talked about it even a few months ago, Apple Intelligence is not going to be out in other parts of the world. It's not out in China. And China is where they're struggling, honestly, at this point. And they need to come out and pacify investors that, we have a strategy in China. We will gain market share back. Otherwise, this is going to be another muted year for them. We think the next phone, which is the one that's coming out in September, I know that's far. I think that's the big catalyst, but that's that's 8 months out, 9 months out.